What's up, guys? I'm Joe. Today I'm talking about the new EP from Billie Joe Armstrong, The Longshot. So Billie Joe Armstrong is back with The Longshot. He's from a little band you might know. They're called Green Day. And we got 3 new songs here: Love is for Losers, Taxi Driver, Chasing a Ghost. This is just a little EP. There is an album on the way, probably pretty soon. I haven't had the opportunity to talk about them too much on this channel yet, but I'm a big fan of Green Day, one of my favorite bands and one of the first bands that really got me into punk and rock and alternative and stuff like that. I'm also a big fan of the Green Day side projects, particularly Foxborough Hot Tubs. Came out post-American Idiot, before 21st Century Breakdown, and it's just a rambunctious, fun, dingy, grungy sounding garage rock album. Definitely a lot of 60s influences as well in there. It's just a whole lot of fun. I'm a big fan of that record. And it seems like when Green Day does these little side projects, they like to explore that more rock and roll element, though it did eventually creep its way into the actual Green Day sound with the Dos Tre trilogy, particularly Dos, which is my favorite of the 3 because it pretty much serves as like a second Foxborough Hot Tubs album. That sound is just really fun. I like the, like I said, grungy, dingy sounding production on it. Not so crisp, not so clear. It has those garage rock elements. And those albums are just a lot of fun. What are we getting on The Longshot? Kind of more of the same, I would say. It seems like Billie Joe, when he does these side things, really likes to get into that rock and roll territory. And while I like these songs here, they're catchy, they're melodic, it just feels like more of the same of what Billie Joe has done, quite a lot at this point. But I think the fact that it's a side project rather than another Green Day album, just, allows me to enjoy it a little bit more. While these songs aren't anything spectacular, I'd rather hear it in a side setting rather than another Green Day album, because personally for me, Revolution Radio was a huge step up from the trilogy, and while there were some aspects of it in there, such as Bouncing on the Walls, those tracks just had way more energy, and it just sounded way more like a better presentation of what a later Green Day should sound like. These tracks on the Longshot EP kind of, lean more in the Uno territory for me. That's my least favorite of the trilogy. And those kind of rock and roll elements are in some of those tracks, while others, harkened back to an earlier punk sound. But I think my problem with that album overall is the production of it. It's just like way too overpolished, way too crisp, way too clean for what they were going for on there. Particularly Billie Joe's vocals just sound so processed. And it shows because on, Demolicious, which they came out with, it was a Record Store Day thing. It was songs from all 3 trilogy albums, but in an unpolished demo version. The bands had just played them in the studio, probably when they were rehearsing or whatever. And the songs from Uno sounded way better on there. They just needed that bit of energy. They needed that live sound. And unfortunately on this Longshot EP, I feel kind of the same way. They seem too overpolished for their own good. Especially when you're going for this earlier, kind of 50s rock and roll sound with these songs. There's definitely a bluesy element to the guitars at times. There's a pop-punk kind of feel to the melodies and the choruses on here, which are quite catchy. But why so overpolished? I don't really know why. I feel like that kind of strips the energy from these songs, and I could definitely see them being better in a live setting, much like those Uno songs. Love is for Losers is definitely the standout for me on here. I just think it has the most staying power as far as the chorus. It's extremely catchy. Some nice guitar work on there and just like a nice drive to it. The other 2 songs, Taxi Driver and Chasing a Ghost, are leaning more in that Uno territory for me. Chasing a Ghost, like the riff kind of sounds like Carpe Diem. The vocal lines and the verses sound pretty much identical to Stay the Night's verses, which is kind of strange. Like, why just do such a similar thing over again? And Taxi Driver, while I think it's pretty catchy and I do like the bluesy kind of guitar lines underneath there, again, it just seems like there's a lack of energy. All 3 of these songs kind of are mid-tempoed, mid-paced. So I think they're good, I think they're catchy, and I can enjoy them, mostly probably because this is another side project. There aren't really any stakes to it, it's just kind of for fun, a nice outlet for Billie Joe, and it'll hold you over to the next Green Day material comes out. So I'm definitely looking forward still to the rest of the album, though I'm not particularly blown away by these songs or anything. I'd like to hear some more energetic tracks on the rest of the album, but we'll see what it's going to be. I haven't watched any videos or anything. I know they've been playing other songs live already. But yeah, I just thought I'd give my quick thoughts on this EP. Let me know what you think of the tracks in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.